Have you ever wondered why certain people come into your life just when you're facing a major turning point? Or why others seem to disappear without explanation? Life, as seen through the eyes of Buddhist wisdom, is not a random collection of encounters. Every person who crosses your path, whether they bring joy, pain, support, or confusion, arrives for a reason. In moments of silence and reflection, we begin to sense that perhaps these meetings are not coincidences at all, but part of a deeper unfolding. In this video, we will explore 7 profound truths that shed light on the invisible forces guiding our relationships and life experiences. You will discover why some people hurt you, while others seem to lift your spirit just by being present. You'll understand when helping others can actually harm both them and yourself. You'll see why forgiveness is not a gift for others, but a sacred liberation of your own heart. And you'll realize how solitude, far from being a punishment, can become a sacred space for transformation. These are not abstract philosophies. They are real. Lived experiences rooted in timeless Buddhist teachings and brought to life through simple stories that resonate with all of us. So take a deep breath, make yourself comfortable, and stay with me until the end. What you're about to hear may change the way you see others and yourself. Let us begin this gentle journey. Here on Awakening Insights, have you ever felt an instant connection with someone you've just met, as if your souls recognized each other before words were even spoken? Or perhaps the opposite, an unexplained discomfort, a quiet warning in your gut when someone entered your life. These aren't random impressions. According to Buddhist wisdom, every person who appears in our life is part of a larger karmic pattern, a sacred choreography that we may not see, but that shapes our path with purpose. No one shows up by accident. Each presence, no matter how brief or painful, carries a message, a lesson, or a mirror. Sometimes, a person enters our life during a difficult phase, and their support, even in silence, becomes the bridge that helps us cross to the other side of our suffering. Other times, someone may test our boundaries, challenge our patience, or even break our hearts, and yet, they awaken something in us that we could not have reached alone. The most painful relationships often hold the deepest lessons. They may teach us to stand tall, to walk away, or to finally return to ourselves. And even those who stay just long enough to trigger our healing, they too were sent, not to save us, but to spark the process of remembering who we truly are. The ancient monks often compared life to a garden. Each person we meet is like a seed planted by karma. Some bloom quickly and vanish like wildflowers in spring. Others grow into strong trees whose roots support us for decades. And a few, the rare ones, become part of the soil itself, shaping the ground we walk on for the rest of our lives. But whether they stay for a moment or for a lifetime, their arrival was never meaningless. Even their leaving has purpose. It makes space for growth, for solitude, for a deeper version of us to emerge. When we begin to see people through this lens, we stop blaming. We stop asking why they left or why they hurt us. Instead, we begin to ask, what did this soul come to teach me? What part of myself did I meet because of them? This shift in awareness is the beginning of spiritual maturity. It transforms resentment into understanding, pain into wisdom, and chance encounters into sacred appointments. So the next time someone walks into your life or out of it, take a breath. Ask not whether they were right or wrong, good or bad, but whether you grew because of them. The answer will always reveal something about your path. And if this message speaks to your heart, I invite you to reflect in the comments. Who was someone that changed your path? Even if just for a moment, share your story. You may help someone else see the meaning in theirs. And if this journey resonates with you, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel, Awakening Insights, where each story is a step closer to understanding the deeper rhythm of your life. Have you ever felt the urge to step in and fix someone's problem, especially someone you care about deeply? You see them struggling. You know you have the solution, and everything inside you wants to reach out and help. It's only natural. But from a Buddhist perspective, even the purest intention can become harmful if it arrives at the wrong time. Helping someone before they are ready to be helped can disrupt something sacred, their karmic journey. Life has its own rhythm, its own unfolding. Each of us is here to walk a path of growth, challenge, and awakening. And sometimes, what looks like suffering on the outside is actually a deeply personal lesson in disguise. When we jump in too soon offering advice, solving problems, removing obstacles, we may unintentionally steal that lesson from them. Our kindness, though well-meaning, becomes interference. And that can create not just confusion in their path, but karmic consequences in ours. There's an old Zen saying, "Don't row another person's boat unless they ask you to." The river of life is different for each of us. We all have storms to weather, rapids to face, and calm waters to cherish. When we try to steer someone else's boat without being invited, we might capsize them or ourselves. This doesn't mean we should become cold or indifferent. On the contrary, true compassion often looks like restraint. It's the wisdom of knowing when to step forward and when to hold back. It's trusting that the other person is on their own sacred timeline and that growth cannot be rushed. Imagine a young monk who sees his friend sinking into despair. He wants to help, so he offers guidance, tries to cheer them up, even solves a few of their problems. But soon, things spiral out of control. The friend becomes dependent, even resentful. The monk is exhausted, confused. Why did his good intentions lead to such chaos? The answer lies in readiness. His friend had not asked for help. He wasn't ready to grow. And by stepping in too soon, the monk altered the natural flow of karma for both of them. The Buddha taught us the power of stillness, of witnessing suffering without the need to fix it. Sometimes, the most loving thing we can do is simply to wait, to listen, to be present, without rushing in. When someone finally reaches out and says, "Can you help me?" that's when the door opens. That's when your compassion can truly land, and healing can begin. Have you ever tried to help someone who wasn't ready and seen it backfire? Or have you learned the beauty of waiting? Share your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear your story. If this reflection resonates with you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay connected with us here at Awakening Insights. Sometimes, silence and patience are the deepest forms of kindness. And sometimes, after choosing not to help someone before they're ready, you may still end up hurt by their reaction, their rejection, or their eventual choices. That pain can stay with you, quietly growing into resentment. But here's the truth. Just as we must learn when to hold back from helping others, we must also learn when to let go of the harm they've caused us. Forgiveness is not a favor we grant to others. It is a gift we offer ourselves. Many people misunderstand forgiveness. They think it means condoning what was done to them or pretending the pain didn't happen. But true forgiveness, in the Buddhist sense, is something far deeper. It is the conscious decision to stop carrying the burden of anger, not for the sake of the other person, but for the sake of your own peace. Holding on to resentment is like clutching a burning coal with the hope of throwing it at someone else. But in the end, you're the one who gets burned. There's a powerful story from the Buddha's life. A man filled with rage spat in the Buddha's face, but the Buddha remained calm, his face serene. When the man asked why he didn't get angry, the Buddha replied, "You have given me the opportunity to practice patience and compassion." That response shocked the man because it showed that forgiveness isn't about the offender. It's about freeing the one who's been hurt. It's about refusing to let someone else's darkness enter your heart. When we forgive, we don't erase the past. We simply stop allowing the past to control our present. It doesn't mean we have to accept the person back into our lives. Boundaries are healthy. In fact, forgiveness and boundaries go hand in hand. One protects your energy, the other sets it free. Think about it. How many moments of your life have been clouded by someone who wronged you long ago? How many sleepless nights? How many repeated stories in your mind? Every time we replay the moment of harm, we re-experience the wound. And in doing so, we imprison ourselves in a cycle of pain. Forgiveness is the key that unlocks that cage. It says, "This pain does not define me. I choose peace instead." Forgiveness doesn't always come quickly. Sometimes it's a long process, a peeling away of layers of grief, betrayal, anger, and sorrow. But with every small act of letting go, you reclaim a piece of yourself. You come back to your center. You remember that your spirit is more powerful than the pain. So ask yourself today, what anger are you still carrying? Who are you still tied to through the chain of resentment? And most importantly, what would your life feel like if you chose to let that chain go? If this message speaks to your heart, share your thoughts with us below. We invite you to leave a comment, like the video, and subscribe to Awakening Insights. Forgiveness is one of the greatest acts of spiritual courage, and you never have to walk that path alone. Forgiveness is a gateway to freedom. But even as we free ourselves from the chains of resentment, there is another subtle trap. We must learn to recognize the tendency to give too much, to be endlessly kind at the expense of ourselves. In a world that constantly praises selflessness, we often forget that being kind without limits can quietly erase who we are. We become invisible, not because others choose not to see us, but because we stop showing up for ourselves. Many of us were raised to believe that kindness is the highest virtue, and it is, when rooted in awareness. But unchecked kindness, when driven by fear of conflict, fear of rejection, or the desperate need to be accepted, can become a silent form of self-betrayal. We say yes when we mean no. We stay silent when we're hurt. We offer help even when we're exhausted. Slowly, we become a version of ourselves shaped not by truth, but by the approval of others. It often begins innocently offering support, taking on responsibility, putting others' needs first. But over time, the line between love and obligation blurs. People start expecting more, rarely reciprocating. You wake up one day realizing that you're everyone's emotional caretaker, yet no one truly sees your own wounds. You give so much that there is nothing left for you. In Buddhist thought, compassion must be paired with wisdom. True compassion does not mean depleting yourself for others. It means being present with love while honoring your own limits. A cherry tree gives its fruit in season, not year-round. Not to those who pluck and harm its branches. You, too, must know when to give and when to retreat. Setting boundaries is not unkind. It's the most loving thing you can do for yourself and for those around you. Because when you give from a place of depletion, what you offer carries bitterness, even if unspoken. But when you give from a full heart, nourished by self-respect, your kindness becomes a true blessing. So ask yourself honestly, are you giving out of love or out of guilt? Are you being kind or are you avoiding discomfort? Do you say yes out of generosity or because you're afraid to be disliked? These questions don't make you selfish. They make you conscious. They help you realign your actions with your values. To reclaim your wholeness, start with one simple step. Learn to say no without explaining yourself. Choose rest over obligation. Protect your time like sacred ground. Let your kindness come from clarity, not compulsion. You are not here to be everything for everyone. You are here to live truthfully, joyfully, and with dignity. If you've ever felt invisible despite your kindness, or exhausted from giving too much, let me know in the comments. Hit like if this resonates with your heart, and subscribe to Awakening Insights so we can continue this journey together. Learning to love without losing ourselves. After learning to set boundaries and give from a place of clarity rather than exhaustion, we may find ourselves spending more time alone. Sometimes, when we stop overextending ourselves to be liked, to be needed, or to stay connected, we discover that many relationships fall away. And in that quiet aftermath, something unexpected can rise: loneliness. But Buddhist wisdom invites us to look at loneliness not as a curse, but as a companion, a wise and patient teacher. Loneliness, when embraced with awareness, becomes solitude. And solitude is sacred. It is the space where your truest self finally has room to speak. In a world that constantly equates connection with worth followers, friends, likes, it's easy to feel inadequate when our social circles shrink. But quantity has never guaranteed depth. You can be surrounded by people and still feel utterly unseen. You can sit in a crowded room and feel more alone than in an empty one. What truly nourishes the heart is not the number of connections, but their quality, their authenticity, their resonance, their soulfulness. Solitude offers us something that no crowded room ever can return to ourselves. In stillness, the noise of others fades, and the whisper of our own truth becomes audible. We begin to ask questions we've long ignored. What do I truly feel? What do I need? What brings me joy that isn't borrowed from someone else's approval? Many great sages, including the Buddha himself, spent long periods in solitude not to escape the world, but to understand it more deeply. Silence became their sanctuary. Aloneness, their ally. Because in solitude, you learn how to be your own friend. You learn how to sit with your own thoughts without flinching, how to face your own wounds without running, how to enjoy your own presence without distraction. There's a hidden power in that. When you no longer fear your own company, no one can make you feel unworthy by leaving. When you're anchored in your own being, you stop chasing validation and start attracting alignment. You choose connection, not from lack, but from fullness. So the next time you feel the ache of loneliness, pause, breathe. Ask yourself, is this loneliness? Or is this space clearing for something deeper? Maybe your soul is asking for quiet. Maybe your spirit is preparing to blossom without external noise. Maybe what feels like absence is actually a deep return. You don't need a crowd to be whole. You need presence. You need truth. And you need the courage to meet yourself fully, without needing someone else to fill the silence. Have you ever experienced a time when solitude became your turning point? Share your story in the comments. We'd love to hear how silence shaped you. And if this message brought peace to your heart, please like, subscribe, and stay close with us here at Awakening Insights, where we explore the power of presence, one quiet truth at a time. As we begin to find peace in solitude and root ourselves in authenticity, life often sends one final challenge before true transformation, the arrival or recognition of toxic people. These individuals don't just test your patience, they test your energy, your boundaries, your truth, and your growth. They arrive like storms, loud, unpredictable, often disguised as care, charm, or even love, and they leave behind emotional debris if we're not aware. But here's a deeper truth. Toxic people are not random. In Buddhist understanding, nothing is. They are not punishments, nor are they permanent. They are spiritual tests sent not to destroy you, but to wake you up. These people may manipulate through guilt or control, isolate you from your truth, speak in constant criticism, or subtly chip away at your self-worth. They may invade your boundaries, twist your words, gaslight your emotions, or make you feel like you're always the problem. But beneath their behavior lies your opportunity to learn. Will you abandon yourself to keep the peace? Or will you stand in your truth? Even if your voice shakes, recognizing toxic patterns is not about judging or hating others. It's about protecting your sacred energy. It's about finally seeing what you once ignored. When your body tenses around someone, when your peace vanishes after a conversation, when your spirit feels small in their presence, listen. These are not mood swings. They are signals. The Buddha taught that not all suffering is avoidable, but some suffering is optional, especially when it stems from repeated exposure to harm. Boundaries are not walls of punishment. They are bridges to clarity. They help you choose who gets close to your heart and who must stay on the other side of the river. Some toxic people come as teachers in disguise. They mirror back your unhealed wounds. They poke the parts of you still seeking validation, still afraid to disappoint, still unsure of your worth. And in doing so, they help bring your shadows to light. But that doesn't mean you have to stay in the lesson forever. Once you see the pattern, your responsibility is not to change them. It's to choose yourself. Walk away if you must. Speak up if your silence has become a prison. Reclaim the parts of you that shrank to survive. Your peace is not a luxury. It's your spiritual foundation. So, ask yourself, who in your life drains your energy instead of replenishing it? Who demands your attention but never offers presence? And who, despite your efforts, continues to cross lines you've drawn? You don't need to explain your boundaries to everyone. You only need to honor them. And when you do, you become the guardian of your own soul. Have you encountered someone who turned out to be a spiritual test in disguise? How did you handle it? Or how are you still navigating it? Share your story in the comments. Your voice may help someone else find their strength. And if this truth resonates, please like, subscribe, and stay grounded with us here at Awakening Insights, where healing begins with awareness. After facing the storms brought by toxic people and learning to protect our energy with clarity and compassion, we're left with a simple question: how do we move forward without becoming hardened by what we've endured? The answer, whispered by generations of wise teachers and monastics, lies not in force but in stillness. Silence is not weakness. Mindfulness is not passivity. In fact, they are the most powerful tools we have for navigating life's chaos without losing ourselves. When the world becomes loud, reactive, and relentless, those who know how to pause, how to breathe, observe, and remain still hold a quiet kind of power that can't be shaken. Masters like Otaka, Noro, Hogi, Aizen, and Kobo did not conquer life by overpowering it. They mastered it by understanding it. They didn't resist the river. They became one with its current. Instead of reacting to every ripple, they sat beside the stream and watched its movement, choosing their steps with awareness, not impulse. This is the essence of true strength: to respond rather than react, to feel deeply but not be consumed, to see clearly even when emotions rise like tides. Mindfulness invites us into the present moment, not to escape the world, but to meet it with wisdom. And from that grounded place, we begin to see that most battles are illusions. The real work is not out there, it's within. When you stop fighting everything, you realize you never needed to fight at all. You just needed to return to yourself. That's what stillness offers: a homecoming. In silence, you reconnect with your breath, your body, your intuition. You remember that peace isn't something you have to chase. It's something you return to. Once you stop running in a distracted world, attention is power. And when you give that attention inward toward your thoughts, your reactions, your breath, you become sovereign again. No one can manipulate a person who is deeply rooted in presence. No one can steal the peace of a mind that watches instead of clings. Stillness doesn't mean you don't act. It means your actions come from clarity, not chaos. It means you move, not to prove, not to please, not to fix, but to align. You speak when the words are true. You step when the path is ready. And in between, you rest in the quiet knowing that you are not lost. You are simply becoming. So when life feels overwhelming, try this: say nothing. Sit down. Close your eyes. Breathe. Let everything rise and fall without your interference. The answers you seek will come not because you chase them, but because you finally made space for them to arrive. If you've experienced the power of mindfulness and silence in your own journey, tell us about it in the comments. And if this message brought a sense of peace to your day, like the video, subscribe, and continue this path with us at Awakening Insights, where we don't just speak wisdom, we sit with it. Life doesn't always offer us answers wrapped in clarity. Sometimes it gives us people who hurt us, moments of silence that stretch too long, or paths that test everything we thought we knew. But if we're willing to stay present through it all, to not run, not react, but breathe and observe, we begin to understand that none of it was random. Each moment, each soul we encountered, each silence, each storm, was guiding us back to something sacred ourselves. Maybe you've seen glimpses of this in your own life. The heartbreak that opened your compassion. The solitude that deepened your strength. The boundary you finally drew that felt like freedom. These aren't detours. They are the path. And through it all, the quiet wisdom remains. You don't have to fight the world. You don't have to fix everything or be everything to everyone. You just have to walk your path awake, grounded, and kind. Thank you for sharing this space with us today. If this journey spoke to your heart, don't keep it to yourself. Share it. Leave a comment and let someone else feel seen. And if you haven't already, subscribe to Awakening Insights. This is a home for quiet seekers, deep feelers, and those who believe healing begins from within. We'll be here, walking beside you one breath, one truth, one awakening at a time.